They said no one survives 99 nights in the Arctic, not because of monsters or hunger, but because the Arctic slowly takes everything away, piece by piece, until there's nothing left to fight with. And I believed them, but I still went in. The first thing I noticed wasn't the cold, it was the silence. A silence so heavy, it felt louder than any sound. Snow stretching endlessly in every direction, no footprints, no movement, no signs that anyone had ever been there before. The forest had always felt dangerous, unpredictable, like something could jump out at any moment. But the Arctic felt different, empty in a way that made you feel small, forgotten, like the world had moved on without you. And empty places are worse because there's nothing to distract you from your own thoughts. The first few nights were calm, almost peaceful. The kind of calm that tricks you into feeling safe. And I remember thinking maybe the stories were exaggerated, maybe survival here was possible if you stayed focused. But food ran out faster than expected. Fires burned shorter each night, and the cold never really left. It just waited, sitting on your skin, reminding you it was always there. Every night felt longer than the last, like time itself was slowing down. And that's when I realized survival here wasn't about skill or experience. It was about patience, about enduring the same fear over and over again without breaking. As the days passed, the Arctic began to change. Or maybe I did. Storms came without warning. Familiar paths disappeared under fresh snow. Landmarks I relied on stopped existing. And at night the wind grew louder, wrapping around everything. Sometimes sounding like footsteps following behind me. Sometimes like breathing just over my shoulder. And I would stop moving, holding my breath, waiting for something that never appeared. I stopped trusting what I saw with my eyes and started trusting instinct instead, because vision lies in places like this. Shadows stretch too long, light reflects in ways that don't make sense, and your mind fills in gaps you didn't know were there. I started finding abandoned camps scattered across the ice, fires burned out, supplies left untouched, shelters half-built and never finished. And there were no signs of struggle, no broken ground, no trails leading away, just emptiness. And it felt like the Arctic didn't chase the people who came before me. It didn't need to. It simply waited, letting the cold and the silence do the work until they chose to stop moving. Nights blurred together after that. Sleep came in short, restless moments. And waking up felt harder each time, like something was pulling me back down, asking me to stay. Then one night, everything changed. Because for the first time since I entered the Arctic, I wasn't alone anymore. I saw movement in the distance, slow and uncertain, and when I got closer, I realized it was another survivor, small and quiet, barely strong enough to stand. They didn't run when they saw me. They didn't speak or cry out. They just looked up and followed, matching my steps without a word. And in that moment, leaving was no longer an option because survival stopped being about me. Traveling together slowed everything down. Supplies disappeared faster, storms felt closer, and every decision carried more weight, because one mistake didn't just mean my end anymore. The worst night came without warning, like all the others. But this time the storm didn't pass quickly. Visibility dropped to almost nothing. The cold burned through every layer, and each step felt heavier than the last. Like the Arctic itself was pushing back, testing how badly we wanted to keep going. I had to choose between moving faster and risking losing them, or slowing down and risking that neither of us would make it. And hesitation stretched those seconds longer than they should have been, because the Arctic doesn't forgive hesitation. When morning finally came, the world looked the same as it always had. Endless white, quiet, unmoving. And standing there, I understood why so many never returned. Not because they were weak, but because the Arctic convinces you that stopping is easier than continuing. Some say I survived the Arctic. Others say the Arctic let me go. And sometimes I wonder which one is true. Because even after leaving, part of me still feels like it's out there. Walking through the snow, counting nights, listening to the wind, waiting for the cold to finally decide it's done.